I was going to do this ages ago. Welcome to Dark Horse Workshop, everybody. My name is Magnus, and today, well, this video is actually a long time coming. I've wanted to time how much longer it takes to make something by hand compared to a laser cutter. So we are doing a set of my fantasy Vambraces, and we're timing the comparable parts. So let's get into it. Actually, before we get started, remember that you can find all kinds of medieval fantasy and Viking-inspired leathercraft patterns as well as Viking art on my website, 50% off if it's your first order, as well as on my Patreon on the month that they're released, so have a look at that. So the easiest way to do a one-off for any of your projects with my patterns is to cut it out, tape it together, and then tape it to the leather. Now this may not make a lot of sense to a professional, where perhaps we have a cardstock piece that we are tracing on just to make sure everything fits and we don't waste a lot of leather. But if you're looking for that one-off project, you want all your holes lined up perfectly and everything to go super smoothly, this is a great way to do it, though you waste a bit of leather. So I pretty much use the smallest hole punch I have for my stitching holes and a 1/8 punch for my rivets. And of course all of the tools and supplies for this project come with the instructions in the PDF. This is your gentle reminder that even if you take out a new blade and put it in your Olfa knife, sharpen it, because it can always be sharper. Now, I'm only timing the comparable parts. Everything after that will be the same amount of time, but the total time for our handmade vambrace with the initial prep, hole punching, and cutting was about 45 minutes, with the straps taking another 25 minutes to bring our total to 1 hour and 10 minutes before we even get to the art. All the leather here is 6 to 7 ounce except for the keepers, and I use a number 3 beveler for that weight. Though you can certainly buy this vambrace set on its own, here's a quick shot of the armor set that they belong to. I've done a lot of videos on leather carving. Here's one right here that was super popular that'll get you started, but in short, you wet your vegetable tanned leather, imprint your design with the stylus and tracing film, cut it with a swivel knife, and then you bevel it and background it. And that's about it. Now, you can certainly get way more complicated in your designs and stamps, but all my leather carving is actually rather simple. There are 4 pieces to carve on each vambrace, 2 are complicated, 2 are pretty simple, and the art alone took 2 hours and 15 minutes to do. That's with me editing out any rest time, so that puts the handmade single vambrace at 3 hours and 25 minutes. So all I need to do is cut a big chunk to go in my Thunder Laser Bolt Pro 32. It's got a 32 by 20 inch work area, which is awesome, and then we just let it do its thing. We can go work on other things while this laser's going. I think I looked at my phone, is what I did, but you could totally do something super important while the laser does laser things. This initial pass, I did do some changes to the art right away. I removed the background completely instead of just lining it. I think it turned out better. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is all done in real time. I'm not fast forwarding it other than to, jump off ahead in clips to fast forward it. But you can see that the Thunderbolt Pro 32 is making really quick work of this project. And the amount of time difference between cutting something out, or, well, even taping it together, cutting it out, and then leather carving it, compared to just throwing a piece of leather in a laser and hit and go, the time difference is gigantic, actually. So I decided to remove the background more on the art, which is something I can just do because it's a laser. I can just do it, and I don't have to worry about having to redo something for hours. Now, not only is the Thunder Laser Bolt Pro 32 incredible, it is made even better by the FiltraBox Expand X2 that I have connected to it. I don't have a really good way of venting out of my shop anymore, at least not for something this powerful. The FiltraBox takes in the fumes, purifies them, and then pushes clean air back into your studio space if you have no way of venting. If you check the doodly-doo box down below, I have a 5% discount code for the FiltraBox with a year of extra warranty, and I also have links to the incredible Thunder Laser line of lasers, so check those out. So remember before, our handmade version of this vambrace took 3 hours and 25 minutes. This version of the Vambrace from the laser took 25 minutes, with an extra 10 minutes after that just to sand up your edges and clean them up. Yeah, so that's almost 3 hours difference for one Vambrace.
But Magnus, where do I get all the tools and supplies?
Well, I've got you covered. You can check the description of this video for links to both Lonsdale Leather with a 10% off coupon code, as well as my Amazon storefront, so have a look at those. I love these Roma dyes. They certainly dye lighter, but that also means they dye really evenly. So as soon as you apply some oil and a finish, they become much richer and find their true color. You should check them out. Once all our pieces are dyed, we buff it up, apply some wax, and then burnish the edges. We want to have the edges nice and smooth. Once we burnish the edges, we're going to buff them to make sure we remove any excess wax. We're going to do our painting, which is the slap chop technique with a gray dry brush, white dry brush, and contrast paint, which works way better on carved leather than it does on lasered leather, but it still turned out pretty cool. The slap chop technique is a miniature painting technique that I found online a little while ago. It's where you build up from black to white and then use contrast paints to bring out the various shades of that color, because contrast paint is kind of see-through. So I've only ever used it on this armor project, but I think it turned out pretty cool, though it doesn't work as well on the lasered parts, so there's that. Did you know that Dark Horse Workshop has a Discord server? No way! With over 1,000 people on it? What? That's crazy! Exactly. What do we do there? We talk about all kinds of things, generally medieval fantasy orientated. We've got blacksmithing, leathercraft, mead making, but we also run contests. And so these contests are almost always to build one of my patterns, and the reward for that is a free pattern just for entering and an extra pattern if you win. So, I don't know, it's just a little fun. So check the description of this video and come hang out with us. After I've dry brushed and painted all my pieces, I need to clean up the edges a little bit, so I use some alcohol and then re-dye them quickly with some black dye. I thought I had run out of all of my Lonsdale Leather Resin. I don't know why I thought that, but I found it in a strange spot. This 50/50 Resin is like pre-COVID Resin, and I almost ruined this with it, but I managed to save it when I found the Lonsdale Resin. This Resin was just really old, and almost always I cut my Resin 50/50 minimum now, and then build it up if I need to, because I prefer more of a matte finish. It just tends to go on better if it's watered down some. I'll often do a running stitch all the way up one side and then all the way back the other. The only thing you have to worry about with this is stitching through the thread on the way back. So just make sure you don't accidentally do that and you should be okay. I decided to do both the stitching and rivets on this project. I assume a lot of people will just do the rivets, but I think it offers a really cool look if you do both. This little stapler is one of those tools I use all the time. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video as well. Now, as I was saying before, I use brass peening rivets almost exclusively. It's probably not the greatest plan in the world when you're doing videos on leathercraft and you're trying to show people what they should be using, because the amount of people that are going to use these is very low, but I love them too much, so I'm going to continue to do it, and I'm sorry. Anyways, all these take a lot of work. There's a divot in my anvil that the head rests in. Snip it off and then peen it over. Constant peening until we've got all of those in place. Okay, this is like take 25. There's not enough space for the keepers to go on before you rivet the buckle on. I've changed that, the pattern's been adjusted, but for me, I had to thread the leather through after it had already been riveted and cut them and staple them together. Now, I've also made another adjustment to the pattern, which is the upper forearm piece, the strap and buckle. I've removed that. There used to be one right on the very wrist as well. I removed that earlier. And so now we're just 3 straps right in the center. Mwah, glorious. There, got it. Jesus. Now we just need to punch some holes that should have been there already, curve the vambrace, both halves, and do it up. And then we're done, really. Don't get me wrong, I love handmade stuff. I buy handmade stuff all the time. But if you're a business trying to expand, trying to get into different markets, cosplay, costume, larger quantities of armor, while keeping your price down, laser cutter might be just for you. Check the links below for the Thunder Laser and Filter Box, and perhaps they can help you out. Hey, hold on one second. Before you take off, I've got another great armor video right here for you guys, so have a look at that. And until next time, keep on being creative in whatever it is you do.